everyone, and welcome to Dayspring Discussions, the show where we talk about comic book movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. I am Sean McGahee here, and with me right now is my co-host Joshua Del Angel. Josh, how's it going, bud?
It's going pretty well, man. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. You have a good weekend?
I did, man. It was awesome.
Got to watch some football?
Yes, lots of football and good times.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, me too, man. I just laid around watching football all day. And then right before I went to bed, I actually watched Hancock, which I had not seen that movie in a long time, man. And I'm like, that's classic Will Smith, doing what Will Smith does.
And at his best, man, a superhero, too, so.
Of course. It's completely original. It's not based off anything, which is really cool. But then, when I sit there and I watch movies, I usually look up on IMDb trivia and stuff, and I forgot that movie came out in 2008, which I think is the best year for superhero movies. Why Iron Man and The Dark Knight came out. Now, a lot of people liked last year because you had Guardians of the Galaxy, X-Men Days Future Past, Captain America Winter Soldier. But 2008, I think, was the defining year because you had Iron Man, which started the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was very successful. And then also The Dark Knight, which some argue is the greatest comic book superhero movie of all time.
I would definitely be the one to argue that.
Of course, you would be one to say that. But also, it also helped legitimize the superhero genre as far as showing people that those movies can be Oscar caliber, with Heath Ledger winning Best Actor as well. So
yeah, I'd have to definitely agree with that with that one, Sean. It's for me, it was the year like superhero movies became real, man. I mean, the marketing, the way the directors were taking it, it was a great time.
Definitely. So, all right, so let's get into our topic for today. How it's going to go, guys. Josh and I are going to run through last week's news stories, discuss them, and probably get off topic a few times, but we'll see how it goes. Blue Sky Studios and 20th Century Fox has debuted a new trailer for the Peanuts movie. The trailer features Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Linus, Lucy, and the rest of the beloved Peanuts gang as they make their big screen debut in state-of-the-art 3D animation. This latest trailer introduces a new kid in town who immediately captures the heart of Charlie Brown. He's quick to make an impression, and it's not a good one. What Charlie Brown needs is a miracle. What he gets is his dog Snoopy. Together they will dream bigger than anyone ever before. The Peanuts movie is directed by Steve Martino, who has directed such films as Horton Hears a Who and Ice Age Continental Drift. The film hits theaters on November 6th. Josh, you said you saw the trailer. What do you think, man?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a going to be a very good, entertaining children's movie.
Really? I mean, you don't think it's in something for adults as well? Because for me, I wouldn't consider myself a big Peanuts fan, but, I read the comics every Sunday and I laugh, and I still watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special, which is classic, of course. So, and looking at this, I did see it as a good children's movie, but as just an adult, I think it was a lighthearted, fun movie. I mean, everyone knows the Peanuts, right? Everyone grew up on Charlie Brown.
Yes, Sean. I do watch the children's Christmas special.
See, you keep referring to
that's
the
what it is
children's
to me.
Christmas special, man. It's just Charlie Brown, okay? We all know Charlie Brown. We love the character. I mean, I like Charlie Brown more than Snoopy, just because Charlie Brown's the classic underdog, So,
and there are some appealing to it for me as well. I think it's gonna be entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I grew up with a different cartoon, man. So to me, it's always the classic Peanuts stories, and it looks entertaining, man. I got to tell you that. I like the trailer. I'm very intrigued.
I think it just looks funny. It looks really funny, and I like that they're bringing in the little red-headed girl. Because that's the ultimate thing with Charlie Brown, where he's this shy underdog who always screws up, and he's always had this thing for this little red-headed girl who he's too shy, doesn't think much of himself enough to actually talk to.
And you got me there, and with that character being involved, man, the one thing that came up in mind is I kind of see a theme of the movie going towards change, man, changing oneself and doing rising to the occasion for somebody that you care about, especially the way the character seems to strike
exactly.
Charlie.
Maybe it's just my affinity for redheads. I don't know.
It might be, man.
I blame comic books for that. Okay, I grew up on Jean Grey and Mara Jade and all that. So, but yeah, man, I think it looks good. So I'm excited. Moving on, next, Ridley Scott dropped a bombshell revealing that his Prometheus sequel will now be called Alien: Paradise Lost, stating that this follow-up will go into the back door of the very first Alien film. The filmmaker dropped another huge piece of news, revealing that there was a connection to the beloved alien character Ripley, who was played by Sigourney Weaver. Even before the title was changed, many fans wondered how this movie would impact Alien 5, which Neil Blomkamp is directing and Ridley Scott is producing. We already know that Sigourney Weaver is coming back to play Ripley in Alien 5, which is said to be a direct follow-up to Aliens, the second film in the franchise. Ridley Scott confirmed that Alien 5 is still moving forward, with the sequel coming out after Alien Paradise Lost. This film will pick up where Prometheus left off, with Elizabeth Shaw and the android David continuing their journey to find the engineer's home planet. Scott has already hinted at a third film as well, perhaps creating a proper bridge to Alien that fans have been hoping for. Alien Paradise Lost comes out in theaters in 2016. Now this to me seemed a little odd when I first heard the title for it, because when Prometheus was coming out, Scott wanted so bad to remind people, no, this isn't Alien, it has nothing to do with Alien. And now I think because the mixed reviews of Prometheus, he's like, okay, well, let me attach this to it so Alien fans will, get on board with it. Where try to promote it a little more, I guess. So.
Man, that's a smart move. Though I haven't thought about it until you just said it like that. And I mean, I'm a big fan of Ridley Scott, man. That man can do no wrong to me. I love Gladiator, of course.
Yeah, I heard Martian is fabulous with Matt Damon coming out. So I heard
nice
that's
to
really
see.
good. So I'm really cool. And Scott has been. A lot of people are kind of down on him for his last couple of movies, as far as not only Prometheus, but also The Counselor, and which nobody saw because I heard it was really bad.
Yeah, and Robin Hood, right?
And there's Robin Hood, and also Exodus, God's Among.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, God's. Yeah, that's one that I saw. I wasn't too happy about, but.
Yeah, I agree. I like Prometheus. Regardless, I do remember all the articles of him wanting to keep it separate from the alien industry, and which at the time I agree. I didn't think it was a smart move, but I'm excited, man. I think you hit it right on the note. I'm very excited about this next couple movies coming out, and it's because it's attached to the Alien universe, man.
Yeah. I know. Alien's one of those things where it's odd to me too. Well, not odd, I guess. Where it's going to be the Alien 5 is going to be a sequel to Aliens, and to me that reminds me of what Bryan Singer did, where when he made Superman Returns, he's like, yeah, this will be the sequel to Superman 2, and we'll just forget about Superman 3 and 4. It's kind of the same thing, because Alien 3 and
Alien 3
and Alien, I want to say Resurrection.
Yes.
I don't think is that the name of it.
Yes.
Yeah, those two weren't as critically loved as Alien and Aliens, so I think they're trying to forget about it, which I can see that. I don't see the point of it really, but they want to try to get in there. The main thing I think is that you gotta have Sigourney Weaver back.
Yes.
Get her in there. She's the face of that franchise.
Too, man.
So.
Yes, definitely the face of that franchise. I mean, she's the anchor of that franchise, in my opinion, and to bring her back, you could always, let's say, do an X-Men, speaking of Bryan Singer, do an X-Men Days of Future Past thing. Different reboot, different timeline.
But so many franchises are doing that now with Star Trek and X-Men. It's playing with time travel and stuff. And Alien has never been one of those things that has time travel in it.
Yeah.
X-Men, anyone who reads the comics knows, time travel is a big part of X-Men. So the fact that they do with X-Men, I'm fine with. Star Trek, space, time, whatever, that's fine. But Alien, I don't think you can reboot it. You can only move forward. So if Aliens 5 is good, I think we can all forget about Alien 3 and 4. But it'll depend, man. It'll all depend. We'll see if Scott continues a streak, which supposedly starts with The Martian. So. Speaking of Sigourney Weaver, director Paul Feig has announced another edition of yet another original Ghostbusters cast member for his reboot. Previously announced stars include Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson. They will now be joined by Sigourney Weaver, who is getting a cameo. It isn't known what role Sigourney Weaver may play in this franchise reboot. The film stars Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, Chris Hemsworth, and Andy Garcia. Being a child in the 80s, I loved the Ghostbusters. I remember I was a Ghostbuster for Halloween, I think several years. Loved the cartoon. It was awesome. I'm very curious about this reboot, because you have Paul Feig, the guy who did Bridesmaids and Spy, worked with Melissa McCarthy quite a bit. Gonna make it a comedy, which I think it'll be funny, but they're all females now with Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy. I'm not 1% on board with this because they want to do a reboot. It makes it seem like they're doing a whole new thing where the old Ghostbusters didn't exist.
Yep.
But now all these other cast members are doing a cameo. Like, Dan Aykroyd could be just a hot dog vendor, or Bill Murray could just be a doorman, or whatever,
Oh, no, man. I hope they bring back their original character.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They should do it where I feel like they should have them. They should have Bill Murray play Dr. Venkman, and just be a move on. Be like, hey, these guys were the original Ghostbusters. They quit. Now we're the new Ghostbusters taking over because new ghosts have arrived. But it doesn't seem like that's the way it's going. They said it's going to be completely original, as if the old Ghostbusters didn't exist. I'm not on board with that, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. How do you see it?
Well, I guess that's a change of it being a comedy, less than I always took Ghostbusters as a great comedy, but a dark movie. It's a dark comedy, if anything. It's going to be. I see it's going to be more lighthearted. I guess more appealing to the market there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, I think they're trying to grab that female audience, maybe. Mm-hmm. Have it all, but Paul Feig, like I said, he did Bridesmaids, so he's used to working with the female cast.
And
so
you tell me that, it makes me want to put it in this category with Bridesmaids, Pitch Perfect. Those movies have been successful.
That's true because what they do is they're grabbing those groups of girls, the same girls that might have gone out to see like the Sex and the City movies or 50 Shades of Grey, and they're going to go see this.
They're jumbling it up like the Ghostbusters world, which could be exciting, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for Ghostbusters to come back. Whether I'm going to like this rendition or not, I don't know, because the original Ghostbusters are near and dear to my heart, man. I still die laughing every time I watch the original Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2. I know some people didn't like it as much, which it's not as good, I will say, but I still love watching Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, man, definitely.
Cool. Alright, so this next one, you're going to have a lot to say, I feel, about this one, okay? It has been rumored that the third Wolverine film essentially closes out the entire X-Men franchise following Bryan Singer's X-Men Apocalypse, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. Though 20th Century Fox will surely continue the franchise in some way, leading many fans to wonder who may replace Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. While promoting his new movie Pan, Hugh Jackman offered his choice for who he'd like to see take over as Wolverine. Jackman said, "He's younger than me, for sure, but I think Tom Hardy would be great." It isn't known if 20th Century Fox is actually thinking about who may replace Hugh Jackman as Wolverine yet, especially since production won't even begin on the next Wolverine film until early 2016. However, Tom Hardy is no stranger to the superhero world, having played Bane in 2012's The Dark Knight Rises. So, Josh, I know you're a huge Wolverine fan, Batman fan, you like your anti-heroes. Me, I'm more of a true blue Superman, Cyclops, Captain America guy. So, but being a Wolverine fan, but also I know you're a Tom Hardy fan as well. So,
yes.
How do you feel about it?
Man, I'm excited. I think Tom Hardy would be a great Wolverine.
I think so too, yeah.
The build,
he's short too.
He's short, man.
Just like
he's
Wolverine
an angry guy. He seems like, at least in most of his characters. He plays that role very well.
He's got the tough guy look down,
Definitely.
Especially like with Mad Max Fury Road. He was, very silent most of the movie. He just had that scowl on his face. So, have you seen they came out with some fan art a few days ago too of Tom Hardy as Wolverine. It was like him with the mutton chops and stuff like that.
Man, I haven't checked that out.
They looked pretty good. It wasn't too bad. But I think Hardy would be a good choice. I used to be, a few years ago, I thought about who could replace him as Wolverine. Another person I thought about was Sam, what's his name? He was in Avatar.
Worthington?
Oh, no, I think, is it Sam Worthington? Avatar and Terminator Salvation, Clash of Titans, that guy. Because he's another one of those tough guy personas where he pulls off the tough guy who doesn't say a lot very well.
Are all three of these guys Australian? I thought he is an Australian
Yes,
actor.
they are. Australians are taking over, man. That's how it is. They're coming from down under to kick us in the butt. I mean, here's what it is. You want to get on that subject, okay? You're talking about Henry Cavill's, playing Superman. He's a Brit, okay? Christian Bale from overseas, he's playing Batman. These are our quintessential American superheroes being played by guys who are not American, okay? Why is that? Because they are classically trained actors from overseas who've studied the craft, who have been in theater. These aren't just some guy who came from, Indiana, which is my home state, moved to California and be like, hey, I want to try modeling. hey, now I want to try acting. You know, it's not they were trained.
Yes.
They went through the process of moving up the proper steps to perfect their craft. And Tom Hardy along with that, just like Hugh Jackman. I am a huge Hugh Jackman fan. Okay, I can't imagine anyone else playing Wolverine. Really, it's unreal. Because Hugh Jackman, I think, is one of the top 5 actors working today in Hollywood. Because within a year, the guy did Prisoners, Les Miserables, and X-Men: Days of Future Past. All 3 very different films, very different roles, and he nailed them all. So I would give him. He's very high on my list. The man can do no wrong. So with Tom Hardy, I think he is a great actor. I haven't particularly been impressed by anything he's done as far as acting-wise, but I think he does do well and everything.
Very likable actor, man.
Very likable, yeah.
I haven't seen a movie where I haven't liked this character, even if it being a small role. So hearing him going, being considered for a Wolverine role, that's awesome, man. I think it's great. I mean, but I'm still putting in my letter to 20th Century Fox. I want to play Wolverine, man. I think I can be a hell of a Wolverine. Give me that chance.
Put a whole new spin on it. Mexican Wolverine.
Exactly.
I can see that, yeah. I can see you need some crazy, Mexican wrestler type outfit. The yellow spandex.
The Lucha Libre type.
Right.
I see that. I like that idea, actually. And I'm short.
I want to see you grow the mutton chop first. I want to see that happen. Do the mutton chops, and then we'll talk.
Done.
Alright. So, for a while now, fans have been wondering what Sony Pictures has planned for the Men in Black franchise. It was rumored that a Jump Street Men in Black crossover was moving forward, but it has been confirmed by producers Walter F. Parks and Laurie McDonald that a full-on revival is in development and will not involve Will Smith. The producers were speaking with THR about their upcoming documentary when it was revealed their plans for the Sony franchise include 3 films with all new characters. Men in Black, new Men in Black. What do you think, bud?
This is something I grew up on, man. Men in Black 1, 2, 3. I watched every one.
Can you forget the 3rd one, please?
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm a fan, man, and it had Will Smith in it. So then that's where I'm a little concerned. I believe it's not going to include Will Smith.
Okay, so Men in Black, I don't know if you know this, is based off a comic book.
No.
Okay? It is. So it was I've read some of the comics, not a lot, I'm not an expert on it, but I read a few of them. They're kind of dark, kind of weird, and I think what happened, of course, was, you brought in Will Smith, so it got funny, and which is really cool. I love the first Men in Black movie. Great movie. The second one's not too bad. The 3rd one, no, I watched it. I'm not a fan of it. The only thing I liked about that one was Josh Brolin's doing Tommy Lee Jones impersonation, which was pretty good. But I think a reboot for this franchise is what it needs. And I think, given the nature that everyone likes the more darker type films nowadays, Man of Steel was darker, The Dark Knight, stuff like that, I think if you put that darker tone closer to what the original comics were, it might work. I think, and especially it's going to set it apart from what the original franchise was, which is more of a comedy with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Turn it a different one. And did you ever watch the Men in Black cartoon?
Yes.
Yes. I like the tone of that. Like, just the theme song gave it a kind of weird, dark tone to it. So I don't think
X-Files type feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a cartoon, man, I agree with that. Now you mention that, I think that I remember the dark theme behind the cartoon and how much I enjoyed that and how different it was from the movie industry.
And I don't think you need to do all new characters. You can still do Agent J and Agent K, but just you got to make it different. Just like with Ghostbusters coming up, you got to make it different and so that it's not compared to the original that are so beloved. So Will Smith, I think I'm looking forward to his next movies being Suicide Squad, which I think he will probably be the main star in. I honestly think that. And then his Concussion movie coming out.
Yeah.
Will Smith is a great actor. Okay? The first time I was really impressed by him was in Ali. He did a great Muhammad Ali. Very good. Movies. He hasn't been on par for a while now. And the fact that he's not even returning to the Independence sequel makes you believe, of course, he's trying to move on. A lot of actors like, say, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone, they try to, branch away from what made them popular. Didn't work, so they had to go back to Terminator, go back to Rocky, stuff that they're known for, and it worked. I applaud him for saying no to Independence Day 2, and maybe even to this one. But I think with the Men in Black franchise, it's a strong enough franchise; it can move on without him, as long as it tries to be different from what it was.
Yeah, I agree. You've pretty much sold that to me, Sean. I wasn't excited hearing Will Smith is such a likable actor, to hear that he wasn't going to be part of it. but they go along with this dark theme and sticking closer to the graphic novels. Why not, man? I mean,
yeah.
How many great movies if they stick to the formula, stick to the graphic novel? How many successful movies have come out because of that?
Exactly. So cool. Alright, so MakingStarWars.com has a source suggesting that Hayden Christensen is returning in some capacity to play Luke Skywalker's father, Anakin Skywalker, in Star Wars Episode 7. It is said that a team in the UK is flying to the US soon, where they will begin training Hayden Christensen for scenes in Star Wars Episode 8. So far, as we've seen with Star Wars The Force Awakens, a lot of rumors actually pan out or were seeds for bigger ideas. I'm going to go ahead and take the front on this, so
Go for it.
please stop me when you get tired of my rant, okay? I am a huge Star Wars fan. Anyone who listening knows me. I love Star Wars. It's something I've always been passionate about. I remember, seeing all the Star Wars movies since Star Wars, the special editions came out in '95, I believe it was, opening day. Saw all the prequels opening day. Saw the prequels actually multiple times, so don't hold that against me.
You weren't the only one, I promise.
I'm sure, yeah, exactly. There was one of those things when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, we all loved Star Wars so much, we wanted to love that movie so bad, and it just crapped out. But, I just finished up my Star Wars prep guide. I did a 6-part on our blog about Star Wars and, my excitement for The Force Awakens, and a mixture of comic books and movies and TV shows that I recommend to get yourself psyched for the new Star Wars. With that being said, we still have not gotten a full trailer yet, and it's less than 3 months before the movie comes out. In November, we got an announcement trailer. It was like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. In April, we got a teaser trailer, but we have yet to get a full trailer. We still have no idea what the synopsis of the movie is. We've got character names, we've got rumors, we've got hints, but we still have no idea what the plot of this movie is, and it's less than 3 months before it comes out. That seems insane to me, really. A trailer's got to drop soon, and when it does, you can be sure I'm going to jump on here and be all about it. But yeah, I love Star Wars. I cannot wait for it. As soon as tickets go on sale, hopefully next month is rumored, I'm going to jump all over that and be on it. With that being said, Hayden Christensen gets a lot of slack and a lot of heat for his performance in the prequel films. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans despise the prequel films. I'll go ahead and say they're not that good. I've done a Star Wars edit where I try to make the prequel films better, add some deleted scenes, take some stuff out. I've given you a copy. I don't think you've read it yet. I haven't watched it yet.
Started Episode 1. Much better.
It's
much better.
I feel like I took about a half hour in that movie, but there were no good deleted scenes, so I didn't add anything to it. I just took stuff out. Episode 2 is the one I did the most work to, where I added a lot to it. So I think you'll be far more impressed with that one. But like I said, Christensen gets a lot of slack. Really, if you go back, there's a book called How Star Wars Conquered the Universe by Chris Taylor. And it is a phenomenal book for any Star Wars fan. And in it, it goes from George Lucas's childhood to his conception of the Star Wars franchise, and goes all the way through when he sold Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012. Great book. But one thing I love there is how they talked about the prequels. And there was a part with Hayden Christensen in there where he was turning to George Lucas for direction on how he should play the character. And George, is basically cared more about the technology and the graphics than he did about the actual performance. I mean, he had Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, Natalie Portman, 3 phenomenal actors coming off with what probably is one of their worst performances. How do you get bad performances out of those actors? I don't know. Basically lack of direction, I think.
He had so much mythology with it too, man. I mean, that's surprising to hear that you say that too about George, because the guy wrote the story.
He does, and he's a big fan. Like the Star Wars, the Clone Wars series, which is now can be seen on Netflix, is actually great. Like the last couple seasons were great seasons, but I was surprised also he was actually quite a bit involved in those, and those are great storytelling, mythology, which really I think validated a lot of the prequels too, depending of how it opened up and expanded that mythology within the prequel setting too. But basically in the book that I was talking about, Hayden Christensen said that, what, George really didn't give me any direction. She said, just play it, And he's like, I was just doing what George says. So Hayden Christensen isn't the greatest actor. Things I've seen him in, not that great, but he is good enough where I thought he pulled off. one of my favorite kind of scenes in the prequels was the one in the Tatooine garage when Anakin just kind of goes off on his rant. Now people are like, "Oh, he's so whiny. That's such a horrible scene." I think he played that perfectly. Okay, that was great. He had that mixture of anger and sadness and frustration and all that mixed in there. Now the rest of the movie or the following one, The Revenge of the Sith, we can question his acting ability on that. For that scene, I thought Theme was phenomenal. The way he tried to encompass everything that character was feeling. And people were like, "Oh, Anakin's too whiny. He's horrible." But I go back and I'll quote Kevin Smith, the great filmmaker. Well, I don't know, great, but the filmmaker, uber geek. He's like, "You know what? Yeah, Anakin was whiny, but that's who the galaxy's greatest villain would be. He'd start off some emo kid with frustration, like, oh, they're not taking me seriously. That's what it is. Like, you have these teenage kids that are like, frustrated. Their parents don't get them, and they're holding them back, and all this other thing. So what happens? They pick up an Uzi and go to town on some school,
Yeah.
And that's essentially what Anakin did, and it's
that's a Darth Vader
which
role.
is very sad, but that's kind of the context. I just kind of thought of that.
And you're speaking of when he destroys the Sand People, right? When he slaughters the Sand
People, but also when he kills his own people, the Jedi,
Yes, and one of the main scenes that sticks out to me is Attack of the Clones in the garage, right? And that scene really solidified. He is Darth Vader, man. He is Anakin Skywalker. He did, in my opinion, he nailed the whiny, rant there, if anything. But he did it with the right amount of anger, the right amount of immaturity. I feel like that he applied to the role.
So getting back to that, because we steered off a little bit, how do you feel about him coming back in Episode 8 in some capacity? Because, like I said, a lot of Star Wars fans don't even like to acknowledge that the prequel films exist, and people are so looking forward to The Force Awakens because they want it to be a return to classic Star Wars, not be the prequels. They've already said that they're going to rely quite a bit on real life, technology, not as much CGI, more animatronics. A mixture of both is usually good, but just trying to pound it into people's head that hey, this is not the prequels. We're stepping away from that. But then bringing in Hayden Christensen, which is the front center for just how bad those films are and how sour taste it left in people's mouth.
To me, it's an image, man. It's a character. Hayden Christensen is Anakin Skywalker, and
he's Darth Vader. Yeah,
he is, and I accepted the role. I accepted him for the role, and to me, it's great. It's like bringing back Han Solo, Harrison Ford, Luke Skywalker,
exactly.
Mark Hamill.
The prequels, whether they like it or not, the prequels are part of the Star Wars, saga.
Yeah.
When Lucasfilm was bought by Disney, they wiped the slate clean as far as canon. All the books, all the comic books, all that stuff like that. They said, hey, nothing counts except for the 6 movies and the Clone Wars TV series. And everything else going forward is going to be canon. So, the fact that, hey, guess what? Officially, those prequels are still in there. Whether they like it or not, it's Star Wars lore. It's not going anywhere. Yep. So Hayden Christensen is part of this. Now, the funny part of this as well, for me, is that it said the source is that some team in the UK is flying to the US where they will train Hayden Christensen. Train him for what? Episode 8, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker is dead. Okay, I can see him coming back as like some kind of Force ghost. This, to me, seems like they might do some kind of flashback scene or whatever, which I would love it if they did some kind of flashback scene with him and Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because there have been rumors about a possible Star Wars anthology movie with Obi-Wan. What's he doing in between that time of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Does he stay on Tatooine and just look over Luke? Does he go off and do something in between? I think that, for me, is exciting because I think Ewan McGregor is a great, great actor. He was the best part of the prequel movies, regardless of how you feel about everything else. And I think it would be a great way to kind of feel like redeem himself as that character if he went on and did a standalone film. So in that respect, if they did some kind of flashback between Christensen and McGregor, that'd be awesome.
Yes.
Because one of the things, again, that I like about the Clone Wars TV series is it's that as a Star Wars fan, you always heard about the tales, the adventures of Obi-Wan and Anakin, okay? And that's what the Clone Wars series was. They were the main 2 characters. It was the adventures of Obi-Wan and Anakin. And the beginning of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, you got that a little bit. You got that friendship, you got the feeling of their relationship. They've been together for years. They're almost a yin and yang. What one is good at, the other isn't. Like any good relationship, they're both bring something to the table. Like I always like to joke that with my marriage, my wife is very detail oriented, and she kind of stays on top of everything, but she isn't that adaptable. Me, I like to leap before I look. I'm the fly by the seat of my pants guy. I'm the guy who has blind faith sometimes, and that completes our relationship very well. And I think Obi-Wan and Anakin have that relationship.
It's entertaining, isn't it?
Exactly. So I'd like to see that in a flashback scene, doing some action, regardless of whatever it is. I mean, honestly, I could see that instead of being episode 8, I could see it being something else, like an anthology film, where it's, Obi-Wan movie and Hayden Christensen does a guest appearance or something like that in a flashback. So
it's going to have a different vibe altogether, man, which I'm very excited for at this point. I like the idea of putting all these old characters in a new universe here, so to speak. So,
and that's the thing, too, is like, this is a whole galaxy, People were speculating about these new characters in The Force Awakens and how, if they're related to Han, Luke, or Leia, or, John Boyega's character, who's African American, they're like, ooh, maybe he's related to Lando Calrissian. Why? Because he's the only black guy in the galaxy. He's got to be related to the other black guy in the galaxy. No, you don't try to make the universe small. It's a big galaxy out there. So let's just have the characters, because you can continue to grow and grow from that. It's like a tree. You get one branch, that turns off to another branch, and then before you know it, you have a million branches.
Yeah.
So I just want a trailer. I want a trailer so bad. Give me a trailer. That's all I'm saying.
You think a 2.5-minute trailer would be to do justice?
Well, here's the thing too. Is like I think a lot of times I would love it if trailers stuck to 2 minutes. 2.5 minutes I sometimes feel is too much. Give me a trailer, no more than 2 minutes. You don't have enough time to give anything away. That's the best thing. But I just want to know what the plot is. I want to know these characters that I know their names of. I want to know how they fit together. Really, I guess want to know how they interact with each other. Don't tell me the ending. Just tell me how they meet and what their mission is. That's all you got to do.
Well, we got 3 more months, man. I don't mind holding out. I'm kind of like
less than that. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm excited, but 3 months, man. It's time's going by super fast with that movie in December.
I've waited a long time for it. So, okay. So now that we're done with that little rant, it was like 3 sentences there, and I turned that into about 5 minutes or 6-minute rant.
Yeah.
Moving on, a new trailer for Marvel's Jessica Jones has been released online. The Netflix original series is the second of 4 epic live-action adventure series set to premiere only on Netflix. The series is a suspenseful, edgy look into the life of Jessica Jones, one of the most popular new Marvel characters of the last decade, as she faces demons from within and out. The drama will premiere with 13 one-hour episodes. Taking place after a tragic ending in her short-lived superhero career, the new series follows Jessica Jones as she rebuilds her personal life and career as a detective who gets pulled into cases involving people with extraordinary abilities in New York City. Star Kristen Ritter is joined by David Tennant, Michael Coulter, Rachel Taylor, and Carrie-Anne Moss, and premieres November 20th only on Netflix. Now, Josh, right before the show, you told me you went and did a little research on Jessica Jones. Now, when I first started reading Jessica Jones, she was already married to Luke Cage in the comics. They had a kid, so that's kind of how I know her. I don't know her as a single individual. You, having just done some research, I feel like you might have a better grasp. So, what do you think?
Man, Jessica Jones will be my future wife, I tell you that much. She is a...
Michelle Rodriguez get kicked off the list?
Well, no, don't get me wrong. It's a deep list there, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
But Jessica Jones is a very strong character, man. She's strong, spunky, and for them to do a standalone series with this character, I'm excited, man. I think for the market, for the superhero market as well, it's gonna be awesome, man.
I think it's interesting, too, because I really love what they've done as far as Marvel has taken these darker characters like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, which I'm a huge Iron Fist fan. Ed Brubaker's run on the Immortal Iron Fist is great, so I'm excited more for Iron Fist, which sadly will be one of the last ones, because Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are on their way. Daredevil's going to start its 2nd season. So I'm excited what they've done. As far as, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in the movies, is more family-friendly. It's PG-13, it's jokey, it's sometimes lighthearted. but it's still very entertaining. But they're taking their darker characters, like Daredevil, and putting them in something, more relatable, more adult. And it's great that you can see that totally different aspect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because these characters are very different from Captain America and Iron Man and Thor. Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, they all save the world. Daredevil, Luke Cage, these people fight crime bosses and drug dealers, and they're on the street. They're a lower level, they're still doing important work, but it's a much smaller scale that they work from. And I love it's a different aspect, it's a little bit darker, very nice. Good change of scenery, change of pace.
One word that comes to mind is gritty.
Gritty, yes.
Gritty, it's going to have this detective type feel to it, man. It's going to be hilarious, dark.
Yeah. I mean, based on what we got in Daredevil, I wasn't a huge fan of Daredevil the first season, but I thought it set up a lot of good things that will make a better second season. But sticking with that tone and knowing that they're moving forward with that tone for the other series, I'm excited.
Daredevil definitely set the tone for that type of series, especially with Netflix, which is very new to Netflix. And that's exactly what I'm using to filter the Jessica Jones trailer that I saw. I'm plugging in Daredevil type feel with this character. I'm excited.
I think she's going to be one of those tough, I want to say bitchy, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the type of woman I like
Because from the trailer, you see her it's her bedroom. She's got a mess, clothes everywhere, bottles of liquor on the floor. The alarm goes off, and she just grabs the alarm and crushes it with her hand, and she's like, don't wake me up. I'm not a morning person, kind of people. So a person who's down on her luck, trying to fix her life, I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know about Kristen Ritter, though, because I know her mainly as a comedic actor in comedies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So for her to take a step in this dramatic role, I was a bit dumbfounded when I heard the casting. But Marvel hasn't had a lot of misses when it comes to casting. So if they think she's the best person for the job, I'm going to trust them for now.
I think they saw something in her. She's definitely going to have to be able to show the tough side.
A different side from what we've seen from the actors so far, yes.
And I trust Marvel, man. I mean, their casting hasn't steered me wrong yet, so I'm excited. I think she's going to be able to pull off the tough girl role. And like you said, she's used to comedy roles. It's going to be a great balance, I feel like.
I think it'll be good. So, all right, so speaking of Daredevil, while promoting his new film, The Martian, Matt Damon revealed he was actually offered the film role of Daredevil before his friend Ben Affleck, but he passed because he wasn't familiar enough with the director, Mark Steven Johnson's work. Damon says, "For us, it was always Daredevil. That's the comic we read when we were kids. But when that one came along, I chickened out because I couldn't tell. I hadn't seen the director's work, and I didn't know. So I just said no. And Ben was like, I gotta do this. And the movie ended up doing very well, even though I don't think Ben was ultimately proud of it. Daredevil earned $179 million worldwide from a $78 million budget. While it certainly wasn't a box office flop, it didn't set the world on fire either. Ben Affleck revealed in a 2014 interview that Daredevil is the only movie he regrets doing because he loved the character and the story so much, and the fact that it got effed up still stays with him. Damon added that he would consider playing a hero if the right role came along. For instance, the actor said that if Christopher Nolan was doing Daredevil, Damon would sign on, but that scenario is quite improbable. Daredevil won the rights back to the character from 20th Century Fox in 2013, launching their popular Marvel's Daredevil TV series on Netflix earlier this year, and production is underway on the second season. So, very interesting comment from Damon saying, hey, I was actually offered Daredevil before Ben Affleck was. And I'm like, it's one of those, I compare it to one of those things where I was like, hey, guess what? Your girlfriend wanted me and I rejected her, so then she settled for you.
I think it's a smart way of, I think he wants to be a superhero now, man. I think he's wanting to get on.
It's the popular thing nowadays.
He's wanting to get on this gravy train, and Matt Damon, I always look at him as a smart man, and especially the movies that he's.
I feel like his career has been a little more successful than Ben Affleck's. I mean, Ben Affleck had that career like in the Daredevil phase or Reindeer Games, where he kind of veered off a little bit, just doing it for the paychecks and the popularity. But now Ben Affleck back to form, being a great director with Argo, and of course, taking up the Batman mantle for the upcoming cinematic universe, which is said that, one of the reasons Affleck wanted to do Batman because he felt like he wanted to make up for Daredevil. Daredevil, the theatrical version, I'm not a fan of. The director's cut, which you can find on DVD and Blu-ray, I am a fan of. Added a lot more to the story, a little more depth, connected a few more dots that you didn't know was really there from the theatrical release. So the film, not a fan of, but I definitely recommend the director's cut. Just looking at them, when I think of Matt Murdock and what I picture of him in the comic books, or the art I've seen, Matt Damon looks more like, I feel, Matt Murdock than Ben Affleck does. So for that, I can see that. But, it's in the past, wishes and wants. Daredevil is now, a popular franchise. But I'm curious, Matt Damon basically said in this he wants to work with Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if Mr. Nolan is taking note of that and be like, how can I put him in my next movie? Or do I want him in my next movie, I guess,
Yeah, it's Matt Damon, man. Very likable guy. It's hard to come up with a movie I didn't like with him in it. But him, I would love to see him as Daredevil.
Because you're a Nolan fan too, so
yeah, I'm thinking of the superhero he could play now, man. But
honestly, here's what I'm thinking. Well, it's already cast, but I always saw Matt Damon as Aquaman.
Oh, right there, yeah.
He's a good enough actor. I'm sorry, no disrespect.
That would have been great. Man.
No disrespect to Jason Momoa, who I've only seen in the Conan movie and Game of Thrones. But Matt Damon looks more like Aquaman than he does. I know,
Perfect.
Looks aren't everything. I get it. And, Warner Bros. Could do, a different take on Aquaman because, Aquaman has been a funny or poke fun of character for a while, so they're trying to make him more gritty. But as far as, again, just one of the things, I look at, Aquaman, and I feel like Matt Damon looks more like him. I know he's a good actor, so I see him fit in that role as well. That's the number one thing that I popped into my mind when I thought of that. Another one would be maybe Green Arrow.
Yeah.
I could see him being Green Arrow as well.
Witty. Green Arrow is a witty, very witty character.
He can play witty character. He was, David going way back to Good Will Hunting. He gave some good zingers in there.
Yeah.
How do you like them apples?
Well, I see him more as Aquaman, man, because to me, Aquaman.
You just want to see him shirtless.
No, yeah. No, but he is a badass, though, dude. He's
Jason Bourne.
Matt Damon can obviously play a badass, which I feel like that's what Aquaman needs right now. He needs a balance of being a badass and a very funny, likable character. There is this kind of running joke with Aquaman, so obviously going into a role like that, you'd have to figure out a way to balance it.
I love how we're talking about Aquaman. We went from Daredevil to Aquaman.
Hey,
it was my fault. I steered us off that direction. So
superhero rant.
But yeah, Damon, great actor. I would be very curious to see what he can do with the Christopher Nolan movie. I'm not a huge fan of Christopher Nolan. I will admit, I still haven't seen Interstellar. It's not like I'm trying to avoid it. It's just I'm not going to go out of my way to see it. So it's probably one of those things I'll watch on HBO when it comes, which I think probably soon. But I think that TV will be pretty good. I'm really curious what Christopher Nolan will do now as well. Is if he's ever going to get back into the superhero film. Because, like with Bryan Singer, and here's another topic that came up last week that I kind of just to debate. Who's the better, superhero director?
Yes.
Bryan Singer or Christopher Nolan? And, I sided on Bryan Singer just because if you look at the first two X-Men movies and then the X-Men Days of Future Past as a trilogy, I guess, as 3 movies, and then you took Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. If you compare just The Dark Knight to any other of the X-Men movies, Dark Knight's a better movie, I'll agree to that. But if you look at 3 movies versus 3 movies, I'll give it to Bryan Singer.
I'm gonna have to debate you on that one, man. To me, the Dark Knight trilogy, that is Batman. That is the defining series.
It could
of
be.
Batman.
I think we're dividing here because I love X-Men and you love Batman, so that might be something that divides it.
But I guess I would say let's do this. Let's take all the Easter eggs from both trilogies, Dark Knight trilogy and the X-Men. Which series, which trilogy has the most Easter eggs connected to the comic book? I would say, and that to me is your better comic book director. But then I would give it to X-Men.
I think it's whoever makes the better film, the more enjoyable film,
Christopher Nolan.
Okay. Well, okay. Whoa. I said you could take The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight Rises has many flaws. Many flaws. Okay. I still think as a film it's not bad, but as a sequel to The Dark Knight, it has many flaws. Whereas, Singer came back with his third film, X-Men Days of Future Past, and knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so excited for X-Men Apocalypse. Can't wait to see what he does. So
I give you that one.
we'll keep that debate going, I guess. If you guys want to get in on the debates, this is the part of the show where I'm going to go ahead and plug and say if you have any questions, comments, or want to hear us talk about something, head over to daysspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Send us an email. If it's something good, we'll try to talk about it on the show here. And that's it. Josh, that's all I got, man. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, there's always more I'd like to talk about.
Of
There's
course,
always the debate that will go on.
We can always save that. Okay, but see, that's good because you and I work together, and we always talk about this stuff at work. So it's nice that we now have another venue to do this. So that way, our boss, won't get too mad at us for talking geek during work hours. So it's a nice change of pace. We can just vent it and let it all out right here. So
thank you, Sean, for starting this. Thank you very much.
Of course, man. I've wanted this for a while now. Hopefully, we keep it going. I think it'll be good. So, but anyway, you can also check us out on Blogger, Dayspring Discussions. I'm still going to be doing movie reviews and graphic novel reviews. Tomorrow I'm going to go see the new Maze Runner, the Scorcher Trials. So I'll try to put a review of that up there. Beyond that, you can catch me over on Twitter or Instagram, Slyn, SLYN, Dayspring12. And Josh, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, man. I'm at IamBatman247, 24/7.
Awesome, man. Well, all right. Well, that is us here at Dayspring Discussions. Join us next week. We'll have a whole new round of topics to talk about. Until then, same bat time, same bat channel.